Did you know LEGO was going to release a Yavin 4 set? Well, I sure didn't up until very recently. But with that said, I really want to talk about all of the stuff involving this, as well as all the figures that were supposed to come in this set that LEGO actually later released, as well as why I think we will be getting an interpretation, if not the set itself, coming out sometime in the very, very near future. So I'm going to ask you all to please subscribe, hit the bell, and do all the other things, like the video, comment, and we're going to get right into this. Now, back in 2010, a DK visual dictionary book, something like this, came out, and basically it showed a cancelled Yavin 4 set in the back. And I am going to be discussing the evidence of this set and just everything about it. There's some pretty high-res pictures that are up on the internet now, so we're going to be discussing every little area of it. So we have two official pictures. The first is this back angle where you kind of see a part of, the temple type structure, whatever it's called, and you'll notice a few details. Now first off, I would like to point out the front. You have the whole temple area type build. I don't know if this would be the final look, but it certainly looks cool. I believe this is around 2009, 10, even 11-ish, maybe even 2012. I know the book came out in 2010, so probably around that time frame. But yeah, so you notice, like, in the front you have the cannon, you have the little stand that the rebel soldier stands around, and then on top you'll notice that there's the ceremony room, which we actually have an even better picture of. And there you see we have 3 rebel troopers. We have Han, Leia, Luke, Chewie, 3PO, R2. It's pretty simple, but it's still cool nonetheless. And then down below, there is actually you'd see a little bit of the command room. There's a little bit of command room which you can see, and that's the only real angle. I'll show you guys another digitally rendered pic later on, to get all the other angles. And then moving down below, you'll see some more cannons surrounding the base. There is that X-Wing fighter down there. There's, I believe, 2 rebels. One of them is like a technician or whatever. And then on the other side, opposite to where the rebel pilots are sitting, there's actually a command room, but you can't see that in this specific photo. And there's just honestly so much that could have been in the set. I honestly don't know everything about it, so if you have any more information I don't mention, you could tell me. But as far as the figs go, it looks like you get the ceremony Luke Skywalker with his medal, as well as Han with his medal, and Leia in her, ceremonial dress. Then you get Chewie, 3PO, and R2, which is neat. It looks like you get about 3 or 4 rebel soldiers. It looks more like 3. 4 would obviously make more sense to me personally, because, you have an even number to do that little ceremony. You get 3 pilots. You only see 2 in the picture. There's another one, supposedly in the set. And then you also get an astromech droid, which you don't see in this shot. You get the crew member, which is on the little X-Wing. And on top of that, I believe that is Captain Antilles. You see there in the little, transport type thingy on Yavin. You see those a lot. I believe they're even in Episode 5, which is super neat. Now, I think that this set may have went into at least a pre-production phase. Now, the reason I say this is because a majority of the figures in the set had come out some point recently after the set was cancelled. For instance, both the Luke Skywalker and Han Solo with their medals both became actual figures. You could get them both in books, I believe. They both came in, their own separate books, which is really cool. In the 2012 Rebel Y-Wing, you'll notice one of the figures, and possibly all of them, were from Yavin originally. You get Celebration Princess Leia, which is super neat. She is the one that was probably supposed to come in this set, as well as I believe you get Dutch Van Der, which is a pilot that would have very likely appeared, in a Yavin set because he was a pilot on Yavin. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I mentioned an astromech droid earlier. Now, there's a good shot that R5's F7, which came in the 2012 Y-Wing, was probably going to be in Yavin too, but they just had all these figures left over. They didn't know exactly what to do with them, so they stuck them in a Y-Wing, which makes sense. Now, I think this set's super cool. I'm going to show some digitally rendered images now, especially of, the other areas that you don't get as good a shot of, and I think it was a super neat set. I've also seen renders of, people doing mocks. I think it could look a lot better, especially with modern-looking sets. You look at modern Master Builder series sets, and if LEGO was to apply their designs now to this, it would have been amazing. Now here's why I think that we're going to be getting it back very soon. So with LEGO's new line of Master Builder series sets, which are essentially like UCS sets, but they're not to minifigure scale, and they're not 100% accurate, it's just another title where they can make big playsets essentially, and they call them Master Builder series, and there are other ones in that category before they invented it. So for example, we got the Ewok Village, Battle of Hoth, Cloud City, Mos Eisley Cantina, and basically because you look at the original trilogy, and all fingers point to Yavin being next. Now, I was thinking about this as writing, but there's a possibility that, we could get Jabba's Palace as a set. I think that's very likely, as well as, maybe they could do another Endor bunker. But those sets has at least been made in some capacity. The only time we have actually gotten Yavin, even a piece of it, was in a junior set. You got like a quarter of a Yavin wall. It was pathetic. It was pathetic. But I think with us just getting the Cantina, we already have pretty much everything from Hoth. We have Bespin. We have Tatooine covered, I think, other than maybe Luke's homestead, but I can't picture that being too interesting. I think the only set that could match all of those from the original trilogy, which LEGO has only made Master Builder series sets of by far, I think it would be Yavin. I think Yavin would be the next one to come out. As much so that I thought that in the rumors that came out earlier this year, I thought that we were getting Yavin. Everyone was saying the Endor bunker, but I was like, you know, Yavin makes more sense. They've already done a bunch of Endors, and there's still a bunch of Ewok stuff out there. I don't think there's as much demand, you know, as a Yavin would probably get, and there's not a lot more room for exclusive figures than a Yavin would have. Now, the figures I think I would include in a Yavin if it were to come out now, it would be Luke, Han, Leia, R2, Mon Mothma, probably, likely, Bail Organa would be a great figure, General Dodonna, you know, a Rebel Honor Guard, you know, 4 Rebel Fleet Troopers, which are Princess Leia's troopers, you know, 2 Rebel pilots, maybe they could be named Wedge Antilles, you know, Biggs Darklighter, and, you know, there could also be other ones, like you'd have Admiral Raddus or Rogue One characters, Cassian, pretty much anyone, they'd all work there. And even you could have General Hera, you could have Rebels, and you could, it's really infinite. You would really have pretty much anyone in this set. Now obviously this thing would be way more detailed up, you'd probably have a modernized mini X-Wing, maybe. I know like say in the Bespin Master Builder series set, I believe you got the Slave One, and I think you got a Cloud Car, I'm not 100% sure. And you know, in a bunch of other sets you get a bunch of little small ships. So I think an X-Wing would be a possibility, a Y-Wing would be a possibility, thinking that they'd base it off of Episode 4, which they most likely would. But yeah, that is the concept for what a Yavin 4 set would look like. I think it is super cool, and I'm really calling it. Within the next 2 years we're getting one. If we don't get one next year, then it's probably going to come out the year after that. It's going to be like within the next 3 years. I'd almost put money on it, but you know, LEGO's weird that way. So by then we might actually get, you know, a really good Master Builder series set, like, you know, a Battle on Geonosis or something. But we'll just have to wait and see. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, check out my merch store. I will see you all in the next one. Remember to peace out and stay awesome.